We know that children develop in stages and that they need to master the stage they are at currently before they can move to the next stage. But how do we help children to move to the next stage? That is where activity design comes in, and why it's so important to design activities that provide opportunities for children to learn and to grow and to actually move to the next stage. So activities must be challenging enough for them to learn something new and to move to the next stage, but also not too challenging to make them frustrated. And that's why we need to know where a child is supposed to be at and how different stages look. So what we're going to look at in this activity specifically is drawing. When we look at drawings, there's 3 main developmental stages. The first one is the scribbling stage, which is usually from 18 months to about 3 years. Then we have emergent schematic stage, which is 2 to 4 years. And the schematic stage, which is 4 to 7 years. As always, these are just guidelines, as all children are individual and can differ. But these are good guidelines to use and for us to see if a child is developmentally where they are supposed to be with regards to drawings. So in the first stage, which is the scribbling stage, this is more about children getting to know the materials they are using in a playful way. They make random scribbles, so it's not really a picture. At first, the scribbling is uncontrollable, like they don't really know what they're doing, and then progressively it becomes more controlled. They are experimenting with holding a pencil, left or right-handed, so they're still a little bit unsure about which hand they prefer, and they might be able to point at something in their scribbles and give it a name. This is called a named scribble. So for them it might be a tree, even though it's just a random scribble. If we look at the emergent schematic stage, so the main signs of this stage is that children uses color unrealistically. So they just use their favorite color, not necessarily their grass might be purple or their cows might be orange. So they don't necessarily use the right color for everything. They tend to use their favorite color instead. They draw people with simple features, no fingers or hair or anything extra like that. And sometimes the objects are just floating in space, like they just draw something random in the middle of the page. It's not like a ground and a sky or anything like that. And yeah, those are the main signs of emergent schematic stage. Then when a child moves to schematic stage, they may use symbols, so they know that a heart means love. They use color that's more realistic, so their grass will be green because grass is green, and their water will be blue because that's the color that water is. And they will begin to show a ground and a skyline. And their drawings is a little bit more in proportion. So on page 26 in your training material, they zoom in on that first stage that we mentioned, the scribbling stage, and they mention the developmental stages within the scribbling stage. So that's just an important thing to go and look at, as it's really interesting and good to notice those things while you are walking in the class and children are scribbling. You can identify some of the things that they mentioned. So when doing this activity, look at the pictures provided, answer the questions, and explain in detail why you think the child's drawing is either in the scribbling stage, the emergent schematic stage, or the schematic stage.